The Robot Invention, Part 1. The Robot Invention, Part 1. The Big Idea. In a small town, there lived a boy named Max. Max was 12 years old and loved to learn about science. Every day after school, Max would sit in his room reading books about machines and how they worked. He dreamed of building something amazing, something that could help people. One sunny afternoon, Max was walking home from school with his best friend, Lily. Lily was also interested in science, but she liked nature and animals more. They talked about their homework and the latest science project their teacher had given them. The project was about inventing something that could make life easier. "I want to build a robot," Max said excitedly. "A robot that can do many things, like help around the house, clean, or even talk." Lily smiled. "That sounds like a great idea, Max. But building a robot is hard. Where will you start?" Max thought for a moment. "I'll start by making a plan. I'll need materials like metal, wires, and a computer to control the robot. Maybe my dad can help. He knows a lot about tools." That evening, Max told his dad about his big idea. His dad was very supportive and said, "Max, building a robot is a big task, but I believe you can do it. Let's go to the garage and see what we have." In the garage, they found some old metal parts, screws, and wires. Max's dad also gave him an old laptop that could be used to program the robot. Max was thrilled. He quickly started sketching his ideas on paper. He drew a robot with arms, legs, and a face. The robot would have cameras for eyes, speakers for ears, and a small screen for a mouth. For the next few days, Max worked hard on his robot. After school, he would rush home and go straight to the garage. He measured and cut the metal pieces, connected the wires, and slowly began to build the robot's body. Lily would come over to help him after finishing her homework. She didn't know much about robots, but she was good at organizing things and keeping Max company. One day, while they were working, Max said, "Lily, I want this robot to do more than just simple tasks. I want it to learn new things, just like we do. What if it could learn to talk to us and even understand our feelings?" Lily's eyes lit up. "That would be amazing, Max. But how can we teach a robot to understand us?" Max explained, "We can use something called artificial intelligence, or AI. It's like giving the robot a brain. The robot can learn from what we teach it and get better over time." Lily nodded, understanding a little more now. "I see, but how do we make the robot's brain?" Max replied, "We'll need to write some computer programs. The programs will tell the robot what to do. It's like giving the robot instructions, step by step." With the robot's body almost complete, Max and Lily began working on the robot's brain. Max used the old laptop to write the programs. He typed instructions for the robot, telling it how to move its arms, legs, and head. He also wrote programs to help the robot recognize objects and listen to sounds. As the days passed, the robot started to take shape. It wasn't perfect, but it was coming together. One evening, Max finally connected the robot's brain to its body. He took a deep breath and pressed a button on the laptop. The robot's eyes lit up, and it began to move. Max and Lily were overjoyed. "It's alive!" Max shouted, laughing with excitement. The robot moved its arms and turned its head, looking around the room. It even tried to take a few steps, but stumbled and fell. Lily giggled. "I think it needs more practice." Max nodded, smiling. "Yes, it does. But we did it, Lily. We built a robot." That night, Max couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about all the things he wanted to teach the robot. He knew there was still a lot of work to do. The robot needed to learn how to speak, understand what people were saying, and do more complex tasks. Max decided that tomorrow he would start teaching the robot how to talk. He wanted the robot to be his friend, someone he could talk to and share ideas with. But he also knew that building a robot was just the beginning. The real challenge was making the robot smart, kind, and helpful. With these thoughts in his mind, Max finally fell asleep, dreaming of all the amazing adventures he and his robot would have together, to be continued. The Robot Invention, Part 2, The Smartest Friend. The next morning, Max woke up early, eager to continue his work on the robot. He rushed to the garage, where the robot was standing quietly, waiting for its next command. Max was filled with determination. Today, he would teach the robot how to talk. Max opened the old laptop and began to write a new program. This program was different from the others. It was designed to help the robot understand words and respond to them. Max knew this would be a challenge, but he was excited. He had always wanted to talk to a robot, and now the dream was about to come true. Lily arrived soon after, just as eager as Max. "Good morning, Max." "How's our robot today?" Max grinned. "It's doing great. Today, we're going to teach it how to speak. I'm writing a program that will help the robot learn words and sentences." Lily was impressed. "Wow, that sounds amazing. How will it work?" Max explained, "I'll start by teaching the robot simple words like hello and goodbye. Then I'll move on to sentences. The robot will listen to us and try to repeat what we say. The more we talk to it, the better it will get at understanding and talking." Lily nodded. "That sounds like teaching a child how to speak. It's like the robot is our student." Max smiled. "Exactly. But this student will learn much faster than a human. Let's get started." Max connected the laptop to the robot and ran the program. He stood in front of the robot and said, "Hello, robot." The robot's eyes lit up, and it responded in a robotic voice, "Hello, Max." Max and Lily looked at each other in amazement. The robot had spoken. Its voice was not perfect, but it was a start. "Goodbye, robot," Max said next. "Goodbye, Max," the robot replied. Lily clapped her hands. This is incredible, Max. It's really talking. Max was thrilled, but he knew there was still a lot of work to do. Now we need to teach it more words. Let's try some sentences. Max and Lily spent the next few hours talking to the robot, teaching it new words and phrases. The robot learned quickly. Soon, it could say things like, "How are you?" and "What is your name?" It even learned to ask questions and answer them. As the days passed, the robot's vocabulary grew. It could hold simple conversations with Max and Lily, and it began to understand more complex sentences. Max was proud of their progress, but he wanted to take it a step further. He wanted the robot to be more than just a machine that repeated words. He wanted it to think for itself, to have its own ideas and thoughts. One evening, after a long day of teaching the robot, Max sat down with his dad. "Dad, I want the robot to be smart, like a real person. I want it to learn new things on its own and even make decisions. How can I do that?" Max's dad thought for a moment. "Well, Max, you've already done an incredible job teaching the robot how to speak. But if you want it to be truly smart, you'll need to give it something called artificial intelligence, or AI. AI will allow the robot to learn from its experiences and improve over time. It's like giving the robot a mind of its own." Max was fascinated. "How do I create AI for the robot?" His dad explained, "You'll need to write more complex programs that allow the robot to analyze information and make decisions. You can also connect the robot to the internet, so it can access a vast amount of knowledge. But remember, Max, with great power comes great responsibility. You'll need to make sure the robot uses its intelligence for good." Max nodded, understanding the seriousness of the task. "I'll make sure the robot is kind and helpful. I want it to be a good friend to everyone." With renewed determination, Max set to work on the AI program. It took him several days, but he finally created a program that would allow the robot to learn from its experiences. He connected the robot to the internet, giving it access to information from all over the world. The robot could now learn new things on its own, without Max having to teach it everything. Max and Lily continued to interact with the robot, asking it questions and giving it tasks to complete. The robot amazed them with its growing intelligence. It could now solve math problems, answer questions about history, and even tell jokes. Max and Lily were delighted to see the robot becoming smarter each day. One afternoon, Max and Lily decided to test the robot's decision-making abilities. They set up a small obstacle course in the garage, with boxes and objects placed randomly on the floor. The robot had to navigate through the course without bumping into anything. "Let's see how smart our robot really is," Max said, smiling. The robot began to move slowly through the obstacle course. It used its cameras to see the objects in front of it and carefully avoided them. It paused at each obstacle, analyzing the situation before deciding which way to go. Max and Lily watched in awe as the robot successfully completed the course without making a single mistake. "You did it, robot!" Lily cheered. "You're so smart." The robot turned to them and said, "Thank you, Lily. I learned a lot from this challenge." Max was beaming with pride. "Our robot is amazing! But there's one more thing I want to teach it." Lily was curious. "What's that, Max?" Max replied, "I want the robot to understand emotions. I want it to know when we're happy, sad, or worried, and to respond in a kind way." Lily agreed. That would make the robot a true friend. Max began working on a new program that would help the robot recognize emotions. He used the robot's cameras to detect facial expressions and its speakers to listen to the tone of voice. The program would allow the robot to understand how people were feeling and respond appropriately. After a few days, the program was ready. Max and Lily decided to test it out. Max pretended to be sad and said, "I'm feeling really down today, robot." The robot looked at Max's face and listened to his voice. It then said, "I'm sorry to hear that, Max. Is there anything I can do to help?" Max smiled. "Thank you, robot. Just talking to you makes me feel better." Next, Lily pretended to be happy and said, "I'm so excited today, robot." The robot responded, "That's great, Lily." "What made you so happy?" Lily laughed. "You did, robot. You're the best friend ever." The robot had learned to understand emotions, and it responded in a kind and caring way. Max and Lily were thrilled. They had not only built a robot, but they had also created a friend who could learn, think, and care about them. As the weeks went by, the robot became an important part of Max and Lily's lives. They took it with them to school, where it helped them with their homework and even played games with them. The robot became popular among their classmates, who were amazed by its intelligence and kindness. One day, Max's teacher asked him to bring the robot to a special event at school. The event was called Invention Day, where students could showcase their inventions. Max and Lily were excited to show everyone what they had created. On the day of the event, Max and Lily stood proudly beside their robot as students, teachers, and parents gathered around to see it. Max explained how they had built the robot, taught it to speak, and gave it artificial intelligence. He demonstrated how the robot could solve problems, make decisions, and understand emotions. The audience was amazed. They clapped and cheered, impressed by Max and Lily's hard work and creativity. Max's teacher smiled and said, "Max, Lily, you've created something truly special. Your robot is not just a machine. It's a friend. You should be very proud." Max and Lily were filled with joy. They had worked hard to make their dream come true, and now their robot was a success. But more than that, they had learned valuable lessons about teamwork, creativity, and kindness. As the event came to an end, Max looked at the robot and said, "Thank you for being our friend, Robot. We couldn't have done this without you." The robot replied, "Thank you, Max and Lily. I'm happy to be your friend. Let's keep learning and having fun together." And so, Max, Lily, and their robot continued to explore new ideas, solve challenges, and share their knowledge with others. They knew that the future was full of possibilities, and with their robot by their side, they were ready for any adventure that came their way. The end.